What's going on, guys, and welcome to the podcast. I'm really excited about today's podcast because today we're going to be talking about something that I think all Dominicans love, which is real estate.
Real estate.
Real estate, they love buying a home, having a home, buying land. My dad was huge on buying land. And I definitely want to dive into that today. Dominicans definitely love real estate. We talk about buying houses, buying land, buying your own property here and away, especially for us Dominicans. Never paying rent, which is a big one. But when it comes time to buy here in the U.S., a lot of us realize nobody really taught us the process. And I definitely want to touch that today. I think it's important to stop talking about it and be more about it, to have more action when it comes to it. And I'll definitely talk about my specific situation because I kind of went backwards about it, but we'll see what our guest today feels about that. So we would definitely talk about owning, which was important, but not always about how credit works, how mortgages work, and how down payment works, and we want to prepare and be ready for those things. So today I'm sitting down with Jairo Rodriguez, Dominican, veteran, love the veteran part, father, real estate professional, and someone I actually went to high school with, if you don't know.
Throwback.
To talk about real estate, first gen wealth, and about our community needs to understand before buying a home. So welcome, Jairo.
Thank you, brother. Thank you.
Thank you so much, bro. I really appreciate you taking the time. I know you're a busy guy. So for me to be able to steal some of your time was the highlight of my day for this podcast, man.
Anytime, brother. I love hanging out and catching up and, getting to spread some knowledge in any way.
Bro, it's been a long time coming for sure.
It has been.
So let's first start with introducing yourself. Tell me a little bit about yourself and what you're doing now when it comes to real estate.
Yeah, so 41 years old now. You mentioned we went to high school together. Let's start from there, I guess. After high school, I went to trade school. I decided to work as a diesel mechanic for about 8 years. And then you mentioned I'm a veteran. So at one point after that, I decided to join the world's greatest Air Force.
Thank you for your service, bro.
Thank you, brother. Appreciate that. It was an honor to be able to serve and kind of give back a little bit for what this country has done for my family and for me at the end of the day.
Right.
Military, did that for about 6 years. Came out of that knowing that I wanted to have a family and settle down and all that good jazz. And I realized that kind of real estate, or at least I thought at the time, that real estate would give me that flexibility to be able to do what I want when I want kind of thing, right?
At least that's what's sold, right? When it comes to real estate.
Correct. So I got into real estate, fell in love with the process, sold my very first house to this Colombian woman who came into this country and worked very hard as a post service master for years and years and years. And she was ready to sell and go back to Colombia, go back to where she was from.
Wait, so you helped her
sell?
Okay. I thought you helped her buy.
No.
That was interesting. Wow. For that to be your first transaction, that's very interesting.
Yeah.
Especially for us being first generation Americans.
Mm-hmm.
I would have always thought your main thing would have been like sell. Like I want people to get into real estate here. But your first transaction was someone that was actually leaving the country.
Yeah.
And how'd you feel about that? Did you question her a little bit about it?
No, I mean, I get it. I totally get it. She came, she did what she wanted to do. A lot of I don't know about all of our parents, but a lot of our parents come here to kind of provide a better opportunity for their children, right? So that's kind of what she did. She did what she needed to do. She worked hard. She bought a house. She raised her kids. Her kids were grown and had, their kids. So she was like, I'm ready to go back to her homeland.
So interesting. I would have thought that her being from Colombia, she would have wanted to leave that house for her kids. Did you get a little bit into that to see?
Their kids already had their...
Oh, they had their things?
They were good to go.
Well, good for them. Because look, for me specifically and from what I've seen and for the Dominicans around my community, it doesn't work that well, that way. And I don't know why it's that way. My mom and my dad, they both were very serious about owning property, but it was always about owning property in Dominican Republic. So when my dad passed away, he left us his mother's house in Dominican Republic as herencia. And then my mom and my dad, they constructed their own house.
Okay.
And my mom is still alive, but we still have that house over there too. So he had some land, but before he passed, he sold. So if not, then we would have had some land too, which I've always liked the idea of land. But the only reason I like land was as an investment tool to make more income. Yeah. So I wanted the land to either look into getting into cattle or farming.
Okay, I love that.
So I'm a very, very big, I like to not sell. Mm-hmm. Like I'm very big on, we need to hold on to everything we need to buy. And I don't like to sell unless it's something super inflated where it's going to help me leverage and get more properties. But we'll get into that. We'll get into that. So yeah, what I was trying to say was that I find it interesting, especially for us Dominicans, specifically here in New York. And I think it's specific to New York that we tend to we migrate here, we work really hard. We buy something in Dominican Republic, but unfortunately, we just don't have anything here to own. And I want to talk a little bit into that. I don't know if that's the same in your circles, but it's definitely in mine. And I could understand it to a certain extent. New York City and the surrounding areas are crazy expensive. Mm-hmm. So I've always found it extremely hard to get into real estate. And I've spoken to you about this because I did buy my property in Dominican Republic and I Airbnb it, and I want to do the same thing here stateside. And I think there's a lot more opportunity when it comes to real estate when it comes to investing in real estate stateside. But what's the word I'm looking for? The entryway
is challenging.
Mm-hmm. And I know there's a lot of programs out there because the first thing people talk to you when they talk about real estate is FHA. So, but before we get into that, why do you think us as a community, why do you think that it's very like that song, Estoy aquí, pero mi mente está allá, type of situation when it comes to real estate?
Yeah, I think, now we see social media, we have the reels that we can look at, these quick little short clips that we look at and kind of come through our feed as we're just doom scrolling, if you will. I say that because it's a perfect time now where I open up my phone and the first thing I usually see is the beautiful beaches in the Dominican Republic.
100%.
And then it's like, why is it that you leave this to come to, these massive buildings and stuff like that, which I love. Don't get me wrong. I've been born and raised here in this area. So this is my, and I came back after the military. So this is what I love. I think it's that when you were born in that lifestyle, when you have that, it's very much a stress-free environment in the Dominican Republic where it's complete opposite here.
Yeah.
I think the mindset is always I'll give you an example. My parents, they split up when I was early, but my father, he's never owned anything to this day. He still doesn't. My mother either. They've never owned anything. And my goal is to buy them each their own, God willing, before they pass.
Right. Here or over there?
Here.
Okay.
Here.
I love that.
Yeah.
I try to convince my dad. My dad came to the country in 60s, I want to say, give or take. It might have been 50s, late 50s. But at that time, the crack epidemic was going on in Harlem. And the city had this incentive going on where they would give you a townhouse. I think it was for $1, I think it was, or $5, something like that. The catch was, one, there was a lot of drugs in Harlem at the time. But the catch was that you had to fix it. Mm-hmm. And he's never been, he never had the inclination to be like, let me take opportunity of these, real estate opportunities out here or incentives. And he just never was into it. And to a certain extent, I feel like some type of way about it. Like I'm very salty about it.
How could you not?
Bro, like right now you could get the bones of a townhouse for like $3 million, $4 million bucks. And he could have, in the 50s or 60s, he could have gotten it for a buck. You know what I'm saying? Like, why not? And I think you're right. I think a lot has to do with the hustle and bustle of the hustle bustle culture here in the U.S. But to push back to the idea, I think if he would have invested into a townhouse back then, he would have been mortgage free today. And I think
Equity.
the hustle and bustle would have been that whole concept would have been a lot different for us if we owned a townhouse today.
So when we started this, I think I mentioned something along the lines of I love to just give back or provide knowledge or wisdom or anything as much as I can, right? I say that to say that you don't know what you don't know.
Right.
My parents, perfect example, right? They didn't know that it was even a possibility. The mindset was, I'm going to come to this country. I'm going to work as hard as I can, even if it's a minimum wage job, so that my kids can have a better opportunity. So when I think of that, I think about this on a regular basis, right? When I think of that, it's like he did exactly what his mission was. He did exactly what his mission was. And now it's my job to push him forward before he or they pass.
So that's interesting.
So it's a limited mindset.
Right. Because I feel like to a certain extent, they failed us in a sense. Is that too much?
I used to think that, but I try to put myself in his shoes, and I think about it now, having 2 kids, and it's like my life revolves around them, and I'm going to provide what I can for them. And if I'm limited to what I have and what I can provide, I'm giving them everything of what I have, and I'm not thinking beyond that.
Right.
Like I can't think beyond that.
So why the obsession with buying and holding or having something in the Dominican Republic if they didn't have any type of like desire? Because here's where they lose me. Like my dad, when you look at the span of his life, he spent more time here than he did in the Dominican Republic. Mm-hmm. So it's like, why not grow some roots? I'm not saying make this the hub.
Yeah.
I love the idea of having Dominican Republic as the HQ for the family, right. But why not leverage the opportunities that we have here to set yourself better off later in Dominican Republic in the future? You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And you're probably right. In their ignorance,
you don't know what you don't know.
They didn't know any better. But I must say that when I was younger, I did push them on that. I was like, bro, like why are we not trying to do more here stateside? And what better, I think the most basic way to build generation wealth is real estate.
It is, yeah.
For me personally, I think there's other ways. I think for me, I like to see real estate as something, one, as an investment, and 2, as a tax benefit.
Mm-hmm.
So, and I'm sure I'm gonna get flamed for this. If it was up to me, I would never live in a house that I own. Mm-hmm. I would only own investments.
Got it. We have a lot of people that do that.
So for me, but for your average Joe to not overcomplicate things, I think it is the right move to go ahead and buy something. Mm-hmm. So I don't know, like maybe it's our turn to do right by our families and generation. And we should be the ones pushing for it. But man, the cards that we were gifted with this economy has been extremely hard, specifically in this area of the nation. Because if I was in Florida or Texas,
different story.
Yeah, I think I would have had a portfolio by now. For sure, I would have had a portfolio now.
So to your point though, but what's stopping you from buying in Texas now?
I think that's the issue. I think the Dominican in me has. Yeah. Which is crazy, right? Like and it's crazy because I push against my own concept, because how can I own something in the Dominican Republic but I don't own something here in the U.S.?
Boom.
That's crazy to me.
Boom.
But
there's nothing wrong with that either.
No, but I can go to the Dominican Republic whenever I want. That's the difference.
And you're still, I think the point.
And I have family too over there, which is huge. Like if I didn't have family in the Dominican Republic,
that'd be a little more challenging.
It would make it a lot more challenging for me to own something in the Dominican Republic. Because I have someone that I can call, de confianza, which you need in Dominican Republic to be like, hey, there's something going wrong with the property. Can you help me out with that? I can't do that in Texas.
I was just going to push back on that.
Right.
That's exactly because I figured you were going there. So you can do that in Texas or wherever. I'll give you some states that are landlord friendly. Texas, Indiana, Kentucky, Tennessee is another one. They're more tenant friendly. Anyway, landlord friendly. You can. It's just about going out there and spending some face-on-face time with some property managers, and those will be your people.
100%.
You don't have to go to the property for inspections. You don't even have to go and see it for any of that stuff.
You're right. You're right. I'm not even gonna like fight you on it. Like, I think it's just been fear based.
Right.
I haven't done it because of fear.
So maybe that was what your dad was.
Yeah,
having.
it's possible. I mean, all his children practically were born here, so he could have leveraged us as a lot of Dominicans do for other things, like,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
And we'll talk about that in another podcast. You know, if you saw healthcare, that was one of them.
Mm-hmm.
You know, "Hey, you're gonna make me an appointment. You know, or hey, I gotta renew my license.
Mm-hmm.
They use us for all those
all of that
government agencies and all those transactions. Why not for real estate? And again, I think real estate for your average Joe, I think the best way to invest, because I'm huge on trading stocks and I do it. Like,
Okay.
I'm into options and all that stuff. And I'm making close to my income just in the stock market, which is another episode for sure. But in my, like, the way that I want to build things up, I want to have 7 streams of income at the minimum.
Sweet.
And then use real estate to offset a lot of the, what's it called, the ordinary income.
Got it.
To you know, because then they say it's a scam. It's not a scam. If you learn the system, system is built for investors.
You
for people.
don't know what you don't know.
Right.
Once again,
But to push back on what you were trying to say,
Yeah.
I do want to start locally though. I want to have something in New Jersey or in Connecticut. Unfortunately, Airbnb is not friendly here in the city, but in the surrounding areas it is. I can go Westchester, and I go Long Island, and I can go New Jersey, or I could go to Connecticut and do Airbnb. So in my the way that I see things and how I would like to have it set up, because the market is a lot more fruitful for investors here, I would have preferred to start here. And then, because part of it is that I want to make a hub around the area that I like, and I really like our surrounding area. And there is a ignorant part of me that is okay with being able to get in a car and to be able to go see my property at will.
Yeah, I get that. Yes, I mean that gives you a level of comfort too.
Right. So for me, if I want to get into real estate, I want to start driving distance
Got it.
from, because then you can also use it for like other things, you know, like if you want to, like, for me, if I use it as an Airbnb, you know, I can do a get together at one of those properties because I want something with a pool. I want something like an experience for people. So, and it's what I sell in Dominican Republic, on my Airbnb in Dominican Republic. So, but let's get into like, if I want to get into real estate here, what are the options? What are the tools? And how do I go about it from top to bottom? Like, you could use me as a case study. And I think I'm a good case study. I think I'm a better case study than other people because a lot of people don't set themselves up the way that I do. And I've done a lot of my due diligence to keep my credit score and all that stuff. So walk me through the process. Like Emmanuel Pena, he wants to own something personally, I want it to be Airbnb. Yeah. But let's make it a second home for now, or an investment property. Where do I go? Where do I start? What's the foundational things that I need to look at, and then walk me through the process of like getting into that property.
The first thing would be to get together with a realtor.
Right. We're here.
Sit down, have a 45-minute to an hour consultation where
let's have it.
I'm gonna understand what you're really looking to do. All right, you're looking for an investment, second home type of thing, right? 100%. So in that case, if you know it's gonna be an investment property, the minimum down payment on there, this is right off the bat, is 15%. I say that because bigger banks and the bigger brokerages are going to want 20%, but you have some unconventional lenders that will go down to 15%. So know that right off the bat. You need to have 15%. You can't do an FHA on 3.5, or you can't do a 3% conventional if you're not living in the property, but it's going to be an investment property.
Okay.
Boom, off the bat. You need to have some capital for an investment property.
So for the listeners that they want to leave the city and they want to go into it being their primary residence, then they can look into the FHA and the conventional loans and the lower.
If you want to, yes. There's more options for you on that side, yeah.
So I'm already losing.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. So it also depends on the situation. You mentioned you have great credit.
Right.
You mentioned you already have properties. in the Dominican Republic. So then you can get, again, there's some lenders that are not as strict with their criteria, that they'll look at that stuff and be willing to work with you a little bit more, right? So again, everybody's situation is different. It's really sitting down and getting to have that one-on-one and getting to know what your wants are, what your needs are, what do you already have, and then connect it with the right lender that can give you what you're looking for, help you get to what you're looking for faster.
Okay, so this is what we'll do. We'll do the investment side because
Sure.
Katie does want us to move out of the city as a primary residence. So the first, what I want to do an investment property.
Yeah.
So I have no debt.
Mm-hmm.
I have no student loans. I have no credit card loans.
Mm-hmm.
My income is over 100,000. My credit score is about 800,
Mm-hmm.
give or take, because it fluctuates from month to month. But the average is 800. And when it comes to down payment, I have enough money in the stock market, but I don't want to take it out.
Okay.
So I would like to be able to have some type of flexibility, and I'm interested also in the DSCR loans.
I was just gonna jump into that.
So let's do me. I'm your profile. You understand what I want to do, and that's what I want to get into. Like I wanna have a property that I can Airbnb. Let's say, for instance, in New Jersey, because New Jersey is like your home base.
Yeah, I'm licensed in New Jersey. Yeah.
Okay, so I want to do it in New Jersey.
Yeah.
So walk me through it.
You're gonna have a lot of options because you're what we would call like an ideal client. On the lending side, you'd be like an ideal client, right? You have plenty of assets, you have plenty of collateral, if you will, and no debt, really, from what you're saying.
Right. Oh, and I'm sorry, I messed up. So you can't use me that way because I am legally married. Like I'm married, and my wife also. So we're like close to 200 a year, which sounds like a lot, but we live in New York City, so it's not that much. But that's what the profile would look like.
No, yeah, you'd have a lot of options. But I did you mentioned DSCR loan. So that is, for anybody that might not be familiar, it's a loan where the mortgage is kind of leveraged with the property, right? If the property is making X amount in rental income, they're going to take that number and kind of run their formulas off of that. So it doesn't go on you personally, if you will.
Can I do it for an Airbnb investment? I know it might complicate it a little bit because I know there's the AirDNAs of the world, and there's other ways that I can forecast what a property would make. Because I know it's beneficial for me going into multifamilies, DSCRs. I would think that it makes me a little bit more eligible for.
No, you're right. I think it needs to be multifamily.
Sorry?
I don't think you can do it on a single family property.
It has to be a
multifamily property.
That makes sense because on the bank side of it, I can see how it's less of a risk if it's a multifamily because they take into consideration, I think it is only 80% of the gross income that comes into the property. See, I did my due diligence.
Good, yeah.
So that in the case that there are some vacancies, I can still meet the loans requirements to pay the loans.
You're right.
So if I want to do, but I really want to go into having an Airbnb in New Jersey. So can I convince a lender, or are there lenders that are specialized in short-term rent? And I don't even want to do short-term rentals. If I'm being candid with you, and I'm going to give the game out here to the people that are listening, I want to go into midterm rentals. Okay. So I want to do the whole renting out to professionals that are traveling nurses, and I do want to do the insurance. I don't know what they're called. They're like the insurance, like when someone's home, they need
catches on fire, and then
so like a temporary
6 to 8 months, yeah,
correct. So
that happens a lot.
So I want to do midterm rentals and then supplement it with short-term rentals. So if there's any gaps, then I can do that. And then there's another play if I can get one with a pool that I can also do a pool rental thing while I'm doing but that's another side conversation that we can have.
Creativity,
off the camera, off camera. Everyone, I'm not gonna give away all the game, but there's definitely multiple ways to make money off of a property when you look into it as an investment, which is why I'm gun hold on that.
Got it. No, you're doing your due diligence as you should. You know what you want, right? That again, ideal client is just that, right? We know what we want. We can do the checklist items and check everything off as we go through. But when it comes to the lenders, you're gonna have some lenders that, for a client like you, they're gonna be willing to take a little more risks.
I see.
So again, every lender is different. You go to the big ones that they have all the red tape they need to go through. Or you can go to the lender, or even if you go to hard money or private lenders.
See, I'm scared of doing hard money.
Yeah.
Because then that puts all the risk on me. Because potentially I can end up losing the property on a whole, like the whole thing, and I lose all of the money that I put into it.
Well, if you think about it, if you go into a regular conventional loan, think of it as you going into foreclosure. Oh, I missed a couple payments. I'm sorry.
Right.
It's similar to that, just that the hard money or the private money guys are going to be really strict on their timeline.
Right. And I think they're a little bit strict on the numbers. They really want to make sure that if they're gonna front the money for you to acquire and to rehab, that the property after rehab is gonna cover their capital to, at the minimum,
right,
get their capital back. So that's why I think once I get my feet wet, I'm okay with hard money. But I definitely want to like have the proof of concept. So, and that kind of puts me in a hard position too, because if it doesn't work out that the short term and the midterm rental thing would work out, I want to be able to leave this place and live in that as my primary residence, which then I'm probably looking into refinancing, or I probably wouldn't need to.
Yeah, at that point you probably wouldn't need to.
I just need to be able to have enough income to cover the mortgage, basically. Okay, so I'm a good candidate. I meet the credit requirements. I want to get into a DSCR loan, which seems to be the best option for me. What is the minimum requirement? And I know you're not. I would think that, because that's a lender. Like that's more. Yeah, I feel like I would have to ask them. But from what you understand, is a 2-family good enough, or does it have to be something where it's more than a 2-family? Because I'm okay with getting with a 2-family.
You can do a 2-family, but the more the better. Obviously, that's going to have more leverage for you.
Right. So I would have to say long-term rental on one end, and then, so if it's a 2-family, and then short-term rental on the other unit.
If that's what you're looking to do.
No, I'm asking, is that the best way to go about it for? And I know this is not
to qualify.
Exactly.
Yeah, because the long-term rental is what they're going to go off of, I think.
Right.
Primarily.
And that's a tough sell because it's 50% of the property. So in the DSCR requirements, it would make it tougher for me to justify. So basically what I would have to do is find a property that's cheap enough that the long-term rental or rent, like the person that's renting the long-term, they can cover at least 80% of the mortgage.
Now, again, lender question, but that would be let's say, for example, I'm buying this property in X city. It's a 4-unit. Rentals in this property go for X amount. So those are the numbers that you give them to the bank. They qualify you with the rentals for that amount. That's that. If when the time comes, you decide, hey, I want to do a short-term rental on one of the other ones, you gave them the numbers for the long-term. That's what they qualified you as or with. If you decide that you're going to use one as a short-term rental, maybe you're going to start making more money off of that. So to the bank, it's not going to make a difference.
I see.
If you get.
So the idea is I need to just meet the requirements.
Correct.
And then shoot my shot, basically.
Sure.
Okay. That's off the record. Okay, so here's
you caught my drift.
Yeah, but here's another question for you. Is it possible for me to qualify for a DSCR loan with people if I'm gonna fill the property with people with Section 8 vouchers?
Section 8 is guaranteed money.
Right.
The rental is gonna come in no matter what.
The only reason I mention it is because I feel like a lot of our parents and a lot of people in our community, they don't know that they can get into real estate and then move their parents, if they have a voucher, into their property.
Why not? Yeah, right.
So I've been thinking a lot about that. My mom recently, she got a voucher.
Perfect.
Thank God. It took forever. I think it took over 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
And she's in a fifth floor walk up,
Mm-hmm. Oh,
and it's killing her.
of course.
So I've been thinking a lot. Again, this is why I've been dying to have you on. Is that I need to get a property as an investment, and maybe I need to put her in there, qualify the property, because I know there's a lot of requirements for the property to be Section 8 approved. Like, I know there's some inspection, there's certain qualifications you need to meet. But for the people out there that your parents might be in Section 8, you can use that to leverage to get you into real estate. So it's kind of a win-win, because for my example, like if I'm gonna get into and this is why I wanted to do the investment side of it first, because what if I want to buy a 2-family, but I want to live on one side and then put my mom as the tenant, the proper,
Yeah, it would be a tenant.
so a tenant on the other side. I guess I wouldn't be going towards the DSCR loan. Then I'd be looking at a FHA loan, right?
If you're gonna live in it, right?
Right. So
yeah, I always think of it this way: like if I can leverage the bank's money, why not?
right.
Yeah,
I'm 100% about that.
Yeah.
I use margin when I trade. So it's why I use my money when I can use somebody else's.
there you go.
And then I do pay interest. Don't get me wrong, but I'm always making money off of their money. So they win, they make some money, and I make
Win-win.
You know what I'm saying? So in my situation, and I know there's a lot of people out there because they don't get creative as I have, and they don't do their due diligence. Would you recommend to buy a 2-family household? And if they do, because now I guess we're shifting now into it being my main residence. For someone like me, so use me as an example. Let's say, you know what, my mom convinced me, my wife convinced me, we're gonna live in New Jersey now. You know my profile, and I want to buy a 2-family home, and my mom has a voucher. So I know there's a program under that can help me or help her with a down payment. But since she's a tenant, I guess that wouldn't work that way. It would be me. I would be qualifying myself as the homeowner of a 2-family house, and then I would just be renting to my mom with a Section 8 voucher. Because we don't want to do anything illegal here. We want to do everything the right way.
And what you're saying, that's an option, but there is a program out there for people that have Section 8 vouchers. And some towns, I can tell you right now that in Irvington, New Jersey, they have an incentive or a program, and I think Newark's picking up on it too, where there's a program for Section 8 vouchers to be able to be converted into mortgage payments.
100%.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I know about that program, but the only reason I don't want to do that, God forbid, and take care of my mom and health and all that stuff, is that I don't know when the Lord's going to call on my mom's name.
Yeah.
So what I want to do is set ourselves up where they're winning and we're winning. They're helping us pay the mortgage down, and we're holding on to this property long term. So I'm not against that idea, by the way. I think my mom would do that. I'm just worried about what would happen
when the time comes.
Once the time comes, and then do we put that? And this is like a more complicated conversation. Do we put that under a trust rather than it being? But that's too complicated for the listeners right now. We can have that conversation off the camera. But so yeah, let's do the. So I understand the DSCR side of it. Now, if I want to go into it as my primary home, how do I go about that?
So primary home, what we were talking about is leverage the bank's money, right? If I can get a 3.5 down payment home, I would rather use that than to have to put 20% down and use more of my capital, where I can use my capital to, in this area, we are the second oldest housing stock in the country. A house that you buy is more than likely going to need repairs. I would rather use my capital on upgrading the stuff and, in essence, creating more equity in the property or increasing the value of the property than having to put it all up front and waste it up front instead of improving the property, if it makes sense.
If that's the truth, then why not leverage the 203K FHA loan?
So you have
Is it still under FHA?
yeah, it's a program in the FHA
Mm-hmm.
under the FHA.
Because I'm not trying to use any of my money as much as I can. I'm trying to do the 3.5 and let the bank carry the burden for the rest.
Yeah.
And don't get me wrong, I don't want to see myself paying a mortgage for 30 years either. Because I'm just like very savvy about it that way. But that's another conversation. Like I could go into that afterwards. But why not leverage the 203K program?
So there's two. Let me just touch on what you were just saying very quickly before that. So and I drew a blank.
About paying it down
Paying it
earlier.
down. So if you make one extra payment a year, you're cutting 7 years off of your mortgage. A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah.
Just one extra payment.
Thank you for mentioning
in the year. FHA 203K loan. So depending on the amount of work that the property needs, and it doesn't necessarily mean that it has to need work. It can be like, hey, I want to go into this property and I want to renovate the bathrooms because they're just older. They don't have to be in non-working order. Depending on the amount that you are going to spend on the renovations, you either go into phase 1 or phase 2, or option 1 or option 2, I think it's called.
Mm-hmm.
If it's under, I think $30,000, they'll give you the $30,000 up front to do the repairs that you want to make. If it's above that, they do it in stages.
This is for the 203K.
203K, correct.
Okay.
So just one thing to know. But to your point, 203K loan is where they're giving you the money to purchase the home and the money to be able to do the construction or the renovations on the home.
Right.
The only thing with that is you have to have a 203K contractor. It can't just be any contractor that comes in to do the work.
So it's complicated.
So there's some more red tape. Yeah.
Right.
You have to get they bring one of their like consultants in throughout the process. So there's additional fees that go along with it, but it is a great option.
Yeah, because as I window shopped on the Zillows of the world and the Trulias of the world, you're right. I haven't found anything comfortably in my price range that would make sense where I wouldn't have to renovate. And mind you, if I'm gonna commit to this home, let's say for at least I don't see how I get into a property and I don't commit to it at least 5 years. Mm-hmm. Why not make it to my liking? Why not put it up to a standard that I like? You know what I'm saying? Or even if it's cosmetic, because half of it is cosmetics. Like a lot of them have like the popcorn ceilings.
Scrape it
you know
off.
what I'm saying? They have, old carpet and beautiful hardwood, floors, which I'm a fan of.
The pink bathrooms.
Right. You got me triggered with that one. The pink bathrooms. So yeah, like some of these people, they have amazing bones. Like these homes have amazing bones, but they look like they're from the 1980s at the minimum.
They're just outdated.
Right. Mm-hmm. So like, and I did find from my research that it seems to be very hard to find a 203K contractor.
There's a short list. Yeah.
Like if someone was to work with you, would you be able to streamline that process for them?
Well, also for the contractors themselves, right? You can be a regular general contractor, and the primary of your business comes from that, and then they're also 203K certified. So, oftentimes contractors are always busy, so it's really like working on their schedule. And yes, I'm closing on July 30th, but are you available on July 30th? That is where the issue comes in.
I see. How do you?
They don't care when I close.
Right. So how do you work around that? Like, let's say the contractor says I'm available September 1st, but they want to close in July. Do we just push back the closing date to September?
You try. So there's different types of markets in my world. I'm going to say my world, the real estate world. Buyer's market, seller's market, and then a neutral market, which right now we're in a seller's market. Here in this area, across the country is primarily a buyer's market, but here in this area is a seller's market. And if you try to push back on that, the seller more than likely will go, well, you know what? Let me just go back to one of the other offers that came in. I don't want to wait an extra month. Let me see if they can close in 30 days and not give me a headache. So you're running a risk.
Right. Is there a way to then speak to the lender to see how they can pause the start of a mortgage?
So there's risks and everything. The other thing on that is if you wait to lock it in, or if you have it locked in and then now the contract is not available until X date, then whatever your rate's locked in at might not be the same rate then. And then you have to either do an extension where you have to pay, or you have to get the rate at that time, which will more than likely increase.
See, this is why I get scared about doing all this stuff, man. because it just seems so risky. Like it's so and then all I see when you say stuff like this, all I see is money out the window. Because I see time as money, and money is just like so. Okay, so and I'm okay with that because what I would do is then I would like roll my sleeves up and then start doing some of it
Getting
on
things
my
done.
own. You know what I'm saying? Before the contractor comes in.
But that's why it's good to have that one-on-one and know that for you, I wouldn't recommend the 203K.
Right.
Right? You're pretty solid across the board. Close when you need to close, and you'll get a regular contractor that won't have to work around the time frames, if you will.
That's interesting because I didn't see myself in a situation where I wouldn't have a 203K because I don't see myself buying a property and not fixing it up. Like it's just like impossible. Am I biased for that or
Mentioning what I mentioned, right? All these old houses that we have. At the end of the day, I've owned my house now for 11 years, the one that I'm living in right now. And to your point, I bought it. It was my first home. It was a multifamily home. I moved out, right? I got married the whole nine, moved out, kept it as an investment, and went through my situation. I unfortunately went through a divorce and had to move in, temporarily.
right?
And what I'm getting at is there's always going to be something to be done in your home. When you become a homeowner, it's good for you to like learn basic stuff to do because there's always something that comes up.
This is you're making my point. This is why I don't believe in living in the places that I own. I think that they should be strictly investments, and I think the flexibility that rentals give you, you won't get from a home that you own. So, I know there's an argument against this. I think that argument only applies to me in my situation because, again, the only reason I see buying real estate beneficial to me is to offset my ordinary income or earned income. So I want to get to a point where I'm forced to do that.
Got it.
Like I want my tax bracket, and I hope this is the goals for everybody else that's around me, is that we need to figure out how to make money. You know what I'm saying? Get to the bag, but then we need to learn how to use real estate as a tax haven. You know what I'm saying? But if you're making enough money that you can build or buy your dream home, then I'm not gonna tell you not to do that. I think eventually I'm gonna have to end up living because my wife wants that for us.
Everybody has their own.
You know
journey.
what I'm saying?
Everybody has their own journey.
So I prefer to live in a dream rental,
Yeah.
personally, and put it under a business.
Yeah.
But again, that's strategies for the advance out there.
Right.
But it's all right. There's things that I could do if I own my own home, the Augusta rule and the other
work
tax and workarounds that I can do to do that. But yeah, personally, I never saw myself not getting into 203K because from what I've seen and in the areas that I kind of like in New Jersey, I haven't seen something that is turnkey ready unless I'm paying at least
a premium.
$1 million.
A super premium, yeah.
Right. Which is what I like, by the way. I like homes that are like 1.3 or around that area.
Yeah. Well, in the market right now, that's what it is. So you made an interesting point. I wanted to get back to two things, but you made an interesting point earlier where you said that, the bones of the house are great.
Right.
So those houses in the 60s, 50s, 40s, the materials, the wood are so much better than what's out there. Let's say if you build a new construction now than what you build now and last way longer than what you're going to build now. So to your point, you can see a $1.3 million house that is brand new. Everything looks
it's pristine.
Correct. Or you can get one of those great bones home and expand on it, add a level or do any of that stuff and get exactly the way that you want it, not necessarily how a builder just made it.
In the long term, isn't that beneficial because you raise the values of the neighborhood, of the community?
It depends on the neighborhood. It depends
thinking
on the
as an
neighborhood
investor.
Depends on the neighborhood you're in. It's better to have the ugliest house in the best neighborhood than the best house in the ugliest neighborhood.
Good point. Good point.
But I wanted one more thing that I wanted to bring up.
Yeah.
You mentioned, you feel like that's wasting money, you said, when you were talking about either putting your money in for renovations or what have you, instead of having to leverage the bank's money, which I get that. But I will say, especially in the last 5 years, houses have appreciated so much that you're making that money back in the appreciation.
I agree with you.
All right.
And I think the pandemic was a perfect example. I personally think I'd rather get in today's interest rates and God willing, the interest rates go down, I'm gonna win.
They're not bad right now.
You know, that's what I'm saying. I remember when they were 15%.
Yeah.
So, or 12%. So 12 and 15. So I would prefer to get into a mortgage that I can afford, but then the negative side of that is that I can't afford the 1.3 house. I can only afford, let's say, the $700,000 house.
So think of it this way, because this is what I'm doing, right? Again, I'm kind of starting all over.
Right.
I don't mind getting the small house, and I'm going to be there with your mindset, right? 5, no more than 10 years. Right? If you go into it like that, hey, I'm going to have my house. I have a house. It's going to build appreciation over the years.
I have a hard time with that. I ain't gonna lie.
That's fine. That's fine.
You know what it is for me personally, and look, for whoever's out there that's listening, and then you're young, bro, house hack. Mm-hmm. If I was in my 20s,
if I didn't have my kids,
and if I would have known what I know now, which is part of the reason why I've made this podcast, is like, bro, I want to teach other people what we know now that we wish we would have known. Bro, if we knew about house hacking when we were in high school,
and we have a good group of people that we would have been.
I would have leveraged my brother and my cousins, all of them, and I would have been house hacking left and right, man.
You know what I want to do that I've been thinking about the last couple of years? You've been hearing about like the compounds that people build and having 5, 6 houses, and it's just you guys.
So my goal. My long-term goal is to have a homestead.
Sweet.
So, and obviously, I mean, God willing, it could be in this area. I doubt it. I think I'm probably looking more towards Tennessee-ish area or more towards the Midwest. Okay. More because of how it's set up and the mindset and the lifestyle in those areas. But yeah, the goal long-term for me is to have enough income and obviously financial freedom that I could buy a plot of land that's big enough that we would have our own community, literally. Yeah. So if you want in, let's
go.
But if you get it,
Tennessee's enticing,
dude. If you do it first, please let me have.
John, we're going to you.
Yeah, John, we're outside, bro. So yeah, long term, that would be the goal: is to buy a plot of land that's big enough that we could basically start our own community. Yes. Which is what
that's the grown-up house hacking.
Right.
Let's call it that.
Right. And I dare to say that's the American dream. Yeah. Which I still believe is a lie. Yeah. Is it harder to get to it? 100%. And again, the house of cards that we were given compared to our parents, I think is way harder for us to get to that point. But culturally, it's been ingrained in us. I haven't found a Dominican household where there isn't a dream of owning something or having something. You know,
I didn't have that.
No. But I'm saying like in your parents weren't like, oh, we need to buy. I have something in DR, specifically in DR. Really? Well, you're the first person that I meet that doesn't believe.
To this day, my dad is like pro rent.
Really?
I'm telling you, until I buy him something, I don't think it would happen.
Really? Not even in the. Does he want to? He wants to stay here, retire here. Yeah. Okay, so you could definitely house hack with him. You could definitely set something up with him, which is great.
You were talking about parents before, and you were talking about the Section 8 moving them in. My dad. So a big thing in New Jersey is a lot of municipalities are approving ADUs, auxiliary dwelling units. So I have a 2-car garage separate from the house, and my dad, he's starting to go blind in one eye. So, health-wise, I'm getting a little more concerned for him. I'm going to start looking I'm going to go to the town and all that to see if I can add an apartment above the garage, which would be considered an ADU, auxiliary dwelling unit, for my dad to be able to move in because, yeah, it's a little concerning. They're getting older. They're not getting any better, right?
Is that when you do something like that, is that considered... Is there a program that the state helps you to make that happen, or
no? It's just that they're allowing it now, just because of the dense population.
So it's like a permitting.
It's a permitting thing. Where before it'd be like, no way, we're not going to allow you to do that. Parking, they're going to think of all that stuff. What about parking? You have to be able to have space for all of that.
What about people that have enough backyard or land that they can make a tiny home for their parents. Is that a thing that we could do?
That's part of the ADU. It doesn't have to be a garage, but I
Okay.
happen to have that structure already in place.
And how long is the permitting process? Does it take long?
Every town, some towns don't have that in place yet, so it could take longer. Some towns, where you have to go through zoning, you have to go through all the proper channels to get it approved and be able to break ground.
Right.
But there are towns that are completely against it.
Really?
A lot of them are the ones that do have the big backyards. Oh, it's gonna get rid of our, aesthetic that we have.
Right.
It's gonna change the community. It's gonna.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Because I always liked the idea of like maximizing what space that you have.
Mm-hmm.
And again, where a lot of us are having to find ourselves, and I plan to make a podcast episode just about how much can our parents lean on us when it comes to us being their retirement plan, which is obviously a separate conversation. But how can we set ourselves up so that we can take care of our parents with these properties?
Right.
So like,
well, plenty of ways. You mentioned stocks. You mentioned a lot of the other things that you're doing. You have 7 different income stream opportunities.
Right.
It's really, again, having that knowledge and understanding, and having people surround yourself around people like that. That's how we can help them ultimately.
That's cool. So let's look into, because I want to get a little bit more into the investing side of it.
Okay.
I'm more obsessed with that side of it. How do you feel about if I don't want to go into like real estate per se? How do you feel about REITs? Like, do you think that it's a good idea? Are there any? Do you know a lot about REITs?
Not a lot. I mean, I understand them. I don't know much about it. I haven't invested in it myself, so that I have a very basic understanding and knowledge of it. That's really that.
Yeah. Okay. So we won't go into that. Like, I just feel like it's very fad. Like, it's like a thing now that instead of people putting their money towards buying it and doing the process themselves, what they do is that they go into the market and they like, there's specific companies I think that they're out there. I can't remember right now, that you literally you get all the benefits from having real estate, but you're not doing the actual work. So it's kind of like a fund.
Right.
You would put your part of it, and then they would give you like rental income or dividends for real estate. But if that's not the thing, but
in the stock world, there'd be dividends. In the real estate owning world, it'd be
like rental
money. Yeah.
Right. So it's very, and I think if I'm not mistaken, it's classified as a fund because of that. So what they do is that, since you're not involved in the day to day of it, what you could do is that you put your money into it and they just handle everything else. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like VC money, like venture capitalist money, but it's really like a fund. Mm-hmm. And then they take all of the real benefits, because all the tax benefits they get, and you're just taking on the investor side of it, and you're just return on your investment type of situation.
You don't get the other benefits though of actually owning real property. Right.
But I think, again, and to turn it back to like our community, I think what makes most sense is for us to find the Jairos of the world and really like plan out a real plan, because especially for like our generation, we're finding our parents to be, health-wise in a more delicate state. Yeah. So they're still independent, don't get me wrong, but they're getting to a point where we need to like really start thinking about where are we going to place them, or what are we going to do? And personally, I think that the care that we're going to give them is going to be a lot better than what the state is going to give them, or, sometimes even them being alone, sometimes we just need an eye on them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. So I think the best way to go about it, and that's why I like that power play with the Section 8 voucher, is, figure out a way how you can get into your own property and then benefit from these programs they're already taking advantage of, and they're paying off someone else's mortgage, and then have it just benefit. And I don't want to sound selfish, but it's like...
No, but you have the right concept. I mean, why not, right? Why not? And you're able to have your parents there with you, and you're able to kind of take care of them and kind of pay back for what they've done for us.
Right. So I do have one more question for you, and it goes towards the primary residence side of it. How much house is too much house? Because my thing is that in my mind, because I want to move and I want to land myself in my dream house and never move ever again, which is really what I want to do. I want to move from here and I want to move into a house where, God willing, if we're going to have kids, we're going to have kids. I'm going to basically grow into this house, but I'm not going to need to move ever again. So how much would you say for someone, for me, like in my situation, is too much of a house? And you could throw numbers out there. Like in my mind, I prefer not to go to a house over 800,000. But in my dream ideal world, I'm looking at least 1.5. So is that too much of a house, or am I?
You mean value wise?
Yeah, like
So when you said too much, I'm thinking like size wise. That's what came
no,
to
yeah,
mind.
I meant monetarily speaking, because the thing is that there's $800,000 houses that are 1 bedroom.
Correct. That's what I was going with.
Right,
that.
right.
Yeah,
But for like me, I want something that's at least 4 bedroom, at least, and it could be a 4 bedroom. It could be a 3 bedroom that I can convert into a 4 bedroom, because obviously I don't see myself not fixing renovating a house. But if that isn't attainable, is going down the route of building a home also an option? But before you get into that, let's get into the numbers. Like what should I be aiming for someone in my situation? I think most people aren't in my situation. I think most people carry some type of debt, at the minimum student loans, and I want to say at least $10,000 of credit card debt. But for like the ideal, so for my profile, let's start with my profile. What you would recommend for someone like me?
It's not that. It comes down to what you're comfortable paying a month, right? Because again, your profile is going to be, everybody's profile is going to be different.
Right.
Everybody's
So use me. So
different.
let's use me as an example then. Sorry to cut you off.
Yeah, no, you're good. So for you, I mean, it's what are you paying, what you're comfortable paying monthly at the end of the day.
So in an ideal,
you also have to take into account, right? Depending on what location you go to, what town you move into, the taxes are going to be different. That's going to also make
huge.
a difference.
That's huge. Because I do want to go into like a county, or is it how does it work in New Jersey?
Municipality.
So I want to go into
Municipality.
City, I don't know why. Yeah, I don't know why that word.
Borough, whatever.
So I want to go into a town that my kids could grow into, and they can go to public school. But I have the option if I want. So if I want them to go to a Christian school or Catholic school, whatever it may be, but I definitely want to make sure at the foundation level that the public school is going to be decent. It's going to be at least an 8 out of a 10, let's say. So, and I'm already thinking about the property taxes, because property taxes in New Jersey are crazy.
Yeah.
So
I was going to give you two examples. So
and then to answer the question about how much I'm willing to pay.
No, I'm not asking you what you're comfortable paying.
No, I'm okay giving you numbers.
It's the individual, whatever they're comfortable paying per month.
Because I want to break it down, and I do want to make it so that people that are listening to this or watching this, I want to give them numbers. I feel like it's hard for me to put things into perspective if we're not going to give people numbers.
That's fine, yeah.
So, and yeah, it takes a lot for me to do that, but bro, like we have to do it. Like it's like, how do we not? I already put out like income level out there, which most people aren't willing to do, and I think it's taboo for us in our community not to talk about money. So let's talk about it. Like, bro, like how much is it too much for me to? I think 1.5 is definitely too much because I'm looking. Let's say I do 3.5% down.
Go ahead.
And then what's that? How much is that? The math. Well, we could do the math.
I need a calculator for that.
We could do the math. So if we're doing 1.3% on 1.5 million house, I think we're looking at. But there's programs, right? Aren't there programs that can help me?
So here's the thing: when you go into the jumbo loans, those are primarily jumbo loans. They usually have better interest rates. Would you say if you're doing
so FHA, so
52,500.
Okay,
that's
fine.
just down payment.
Right. So 52,500 is my down payment on a dream.
1.5.
Never have to move ever again home.
Never moving again.
Is that too much of a house for me? Am I aiming for too much?
That's why I mentioned like it really boils down to what you're looking to pay per month, right? Because let's say if you have more capital, I get you're not trying to use your capital, but you have more capital, you can put more down
Right.
to get your dream home,
Right.
and you're still keeping it within that monthly payment.
Right.
So that's why I can't just tell you what's too much or what's not too much. It doesn't just boil down to that.
So I need to give you like a figure how much I'm willing to pay a month? So how much is it a 1 point? Now we're looking at 1.45.
Let's say 1.5.
What does a mortgage rate look like for that?
The rate?
Yeah, so PMI, taxes, everything.
So that's it. You would have PMI if you're paying under 20%. If you're putting down under 20%, you would have PMI. I'm taking a wild number. I wish I had I used the calculator for all of that. I would have to say that's got to be close to
10,000,
9 or 10,000. Yeah.
Right. So $10,000.
Not counting any utility costs. Not counting, your regular.
What is it? What
monthly
is it?
expenses.
1.5 times. What's the math?
What are you doing? Times 0.035.
Is in the more.
What do you? I don't know what you're trying to.
Like the more, I'm trying to like get a guesstimate on the mortgage. It's not hard. It's not that easy to do, right?
No, I got just Google a mortgage calculator.
Oh, okay. But let's to make things simpler for now.
Yeah.
So we're looking at least $10,000 a month.
About.
That's crazy. I'm not doing that.
So then, if you put more down, then you can bring it down to whatever number you want. That's what I'm saying. I'm the individual.
Right. Well, remember, I wanted to use as much as money as the bank.
Okay, so this is why when we sit down, when you have that one-on-one, you really get a feel for the person on whether they'd be willing to put more down to get their forever dream home, right? Because some people might be willing to do that.
Right.
And then if you're not, then, all right, let's work towards what are we going to get at that 3.5. Now, also, again, in the seller's market, if you're going in to try to buy that $800,000 house that you can make it into a $1.3 million house, it's going to be competitive. Now, the other thing, and I hate to say this, but a lot of sellers have that stigma of like, oh, if they're only putting 3.5% down, FHA loans, the inspectors are going to be a little more thorough. They're going to find more issues. They're going to want the sellers to do more things. They're going to be a little less incentivized to go with an FHA loan if they have another offer that's giving them 20% down. So when it's a competitive market, you got to strategize in that sense too.
And I feel like it's always a competitive market for us.
Not always.
Really?
Yeah, when I first got into it, it wasn't like that. When I first got into the industry in 2015, a lot of the houses were sitting on the market for about a year.
Really?
Yeah. And houses then were going for like 300,000 that now are going for like 700,000. The same house.
That's so crazy. So when does it make sense for someone like me to go down the FHA angle, or going down the conventional angle?
So that's where the expert comes in and says, hey, if we're looking in this neighborhood and this is what it's priced at and this is really what it's worth, or whatever the case may be, they're going to be able to guide you down that route. Hey, in this property, you can do an FHA. I think we'll get it done, right? And then another good part with working with a realtor like myself is I have built so many relationships with agents, right? If I have a relationship with you, like 123 Main Street, right, and the agent that represents the seller on that side, I happen to know them. People like working with people that they know and trust, and they'd be willing to maybe incentivize the seller, or not incentivize, but kind of nudge the seller into going with an FHA loan because it's me on the other end, or somebody that they know and they trust, that they know that we're going to get the deal through, and we're not going to allow a little inspection issue to just kill the deal.
Right.
We're going to figure something out at the end of the day so that the seller and the buyer could be happy. You get what you want, the seller gets what they want, and both agents trust each other and know each other.
Well. So to get back to too much house for me.
Uh-huh.
So 1.5, I don't want to take it off the board yet. So because there are first time home buyers like down payment assistance out there. Mm-hmm. What do you know of any that, and I'm sorry that I'm making you like the know-it-all for all these questions.
I'm not Google.
right. Do you know of any programs that you could recommend to someone like me in my situation? And in my mind, I'm not going to take that off the board because I think that's the best case scenario.
Yeah.
But for me, I think the most realistic scenario is a 2-family home or the DSCR loan. So to make things a little bit more attainable for me, can I use the first time home buyer down payment assistance programs for only FHA, or is it something that I could use for both conventional and FHA?
You can use it for conventional. So how these grants, they're usually grants,
Right.
come about is more often than not, there's a bank that bought another bank that was having some type of issue that now something happened where this bank, now that they bought these guys out, they have to have X amount of, I don't want to say what banks that I'm thinking of because it just recently happened, but they bought another bank out. They were having some discriminatory practices.
I know who you're talking about.
They had to have, I think it was $18 million in
Yes.
this grant money that had to go specifically to specific neighborhoods
Yes.
and things like that. So that happens more often than not, and
Right.
that can happen. They can start that up next month, and it'll last until that $18 million is used.
Right.
That can happen anytime. That can come up right now. That can be a 3-month thing. That could be a year-long thing. At any moment in time, there could be a different grant program that's out there and that's available. Now, you have some programs that are always out there. There tends to be a little bit more red tape.
Right.
And oftentimes when you're putting the offer in and you're putting, hey, I'm getting a grant from X, Y, and Z, some sellers get turned off by it. Again, that comes from not knowing what they don't know, and that would be my job as the realtor to express that to the agent so that they can then express that to the seller that, you know, it's not a bad thing. This is a positive program. It's not that Emmanuel doesn't have the funds in his bank. It's just that he's trying to take advantage of the programs that are available, right? Like veterans. We also have a program that's similar to 203K loans, is a veteran construction loan.
Right.
Many veterans don't even know that.
Right.
And also, when I write up a loan, a VA loan offer, right, one of the benefits of a VA loan is 0% down. Sellers don't like that. I spent literally, most recently, I remember about an hour on the phone with the other agent just explaining to them. Because they're like, no, I heard VA loans are bad, and then this, and that. And I spent an hour just giving them some knowledge and wisdom. They accepted it. So.
That's nuts. That's nuts to me because I have a soft heart for all VA programs. And it's like, bro, if I'm selling my property just because it's a VA loan, I would be like, heck yeah, man.
Some people are like that. Some people it's the opposite.
I just can't. I can't not help a veteran out. You know what I'm saying?
Appreciate that.
But so I think I understand the answer. So the answer is, so if I want to do a first time home buyer or a down payment assistance program, it's going to depend on when I'm doing it, when I'm applying. Because it's true, because I did do the first time home buyers certification class. I think when I did it, I qualified for, I want to say 50,000.
Okay.
But if I bought in New York City or New York State, I qualified for 150.
Okay.
But I had to buy in New York. It wasn't like something where exactly. So
New Jersey has a program like that right now. Somewhere I think it's 1.5% or 15,000, I think, or something like that. So not as grand, but it's something. At the end of the day, if we have availability to get some free money, go after it.
Right. So I definitely co-sign it. Like if you want to go down this path about buying real estate, definitely do the first time home buyer class and the certification. It also helps you qualify for extra grants. And then on top of that, it helps you learn a lot about things that I didn't know about. Like there was at the time, and I think they still have this now, where this is specific to New York. There's the state grants mortgages at a better rate than commercial banks.
The state's giving you mortgages?
Yes, I think it was called
interesting.
I forgot what it's called. It's NY something.
Okay.
But it was definitely, I guess it's similar to FHA, but it's a state instead of a federal first time owner program. It was like a state. So I don't want to say that the state funds it, but I think they back it. I think that's how it works.
Kind of.
So I think that's how it works. So the Chases of the world, of your whatever bank of the world, if
they'll still fund it.
Right. If they're part of that program, it would be back through the state rather than the federal. But the mortgage rate was very favorable. It was good. So it would be lower than your normal market rate interest rate.
Got it.
So and if it wasn't for that class, I would have never known that.
True.
So
the more you know.
Yeah. So there was a lot of things that I did, and for some reason I forgot why I didn't get into the property, but I definitely opened an account specifically that would grant me money for me to save money.
Okay.
I think it was $4 to $1 that I put into the bank. It was capped, but I did that, and then I qualified for a couple other grants, but something happened in that, and I couldn't go through with it. It was life for sure.
Life.
So yeah. So basically what I need to do is sit down with you and like hash it out and I think that's what intimidates a lot of people is like it seems like it's very complicated and it's a very hard entry. What's the word I'm trying to look for?
It's a barrier.
Exactly. So like it seems like it's more complicated than I would like it to be. But and I've always had a hard time understanding why it takes so long to close on a property. But definitely for someone like me that wants to get into really an investment property, because I always see it as investment property, I think for someone like me, it would make sense to go down the conventional route because of my credit worthiness,
Yes.
right? Get the certification, get all the grants, right? And then once I know everything that I qualify, come to you with a pre-approval, because we even got into that side of it. And then according to what the pre-approval and I do have some questions about getting pre-approved, because should I be shopping around when it comes to pre-approvals, or like how does that work?
So I'm going to get to that. I want to backtrack a little bit.
Right.
I have had clients that I've met when the idea popped up of, hey, I want to buy a house. What would I need to do to get it? Right. So then we sit down. At the end of the day, it's going to be about a 3-year journey, right? For you to get to the point where I would rather have that and sit with somebody early on than to somebody come with me. Hey, I have a pre-approval. I want to buy something, right? If we're able to kind of envision what you want and get the full picture early on, it'll be easier when the time comes that you're actually ready.
Wow.
Not that that's a problem, but that is a misconception that people have. Yeah. Once I get my pre-approval, I'm going to go to my realtor or my agent to start the...
And to backtrack a little bit more, it's true, because I do remember seeing a lot of people not taking advantage of grants because the sellers weren't willing to wait it out.
Yeah.
Like, what's that about? Like, why? Because sometimes it takes, what, 3 to 6 months to close on a property? Is that accurate?
That's not average. That's not
so
average.
Usually 3 months, was it take 2 months?
Right now, from the time you put an offer, get an offer accepted to the time of the close, it's about 45 days right now.
Oh, okay. So let's say 2 months.
Okay.
A month and a half.
Yeah.
So let's say a month to close. But the process with a lot of these grants, it adds on at least a month or
and
2.
And they have to wait. It's not
right. What if let's say you are talking to someone that wants to sell their property, why would you tell them it's worth waiting for that? Is it because it's guaranteed money, or like what entices a seller to want to wait that out for a buyer that...
The only time that it would benefit a seller is if they also have to buy something and they don't have something lined up.
I see.
One, or some people have a soft spot, right? Or if it's a veteran, or if it's a first-time home buyer, they want to buy this house and they're going to start a family. And this, I was raised with my parents here, and you know, if there's that emotional connection, things like that would incentivize them to do it. Outside of that, in a seller's market, it's difficult.
Is there something that, as the buyer, I can do to convince them to wait it out for me?
So there's certain things that you shouldn't do that some people still do, right? Like love letters, you're not supposed to send that stuff. And the seller is being, there's an opportunity. They're at very high risk of potentially discrimination or anything based on what they find on that letter. So if I'm the seller's agent and I receive a letter, I do not show it to my seller. And I tell the agent, I'm not going to sell this because of X, Y, and Z, or show this because of X, Y, and Z. Your offer is your...
I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
Oh, is there not supposed to be communication? So you can talk to the seller if I'm buying through you?
If I'm your agent as a buyer, I'm your buyer's agent, and the seller has their seller's agent. Agent and agent can talk. I shouldn't talk to the seller either.
Interesting.
Shouldn't communicate with the seller.
I didn't know that.
They have representation.
Is that like a legal thing?
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't know that. I thought we could hash it out. Like you, me, and then the seller agent and the property owner, we could come to the table and have a conversation.
If we talk within each other and try to get everybody at a table, a meeting of the minds is what you would call it, right?
Yeah.
If everyone agrees upon it, you can do that. But they have representation, you have representation. That's why you have representation.
How do you feel about seller financing?
As an investor, that's great.
As a realtor, do you facilitate that?
No.
Really?
I don't.
Really? Can I
So
push back on
I
that?
think this is what you're thinking about. When you say facilitate, you mean like handle that throughout the process?
So like let's say you and I we're gonna buy a property and the seller owns.
I'm an agent now, right?
You're
I'm the
my
agent.
agent.
Okay.
You're my agent, and we find a seller that owns a property outright, and we decide that it's a great property for us to seller finance with this person.
I would recommend it, but I don't handle anything. So that's what I was gonna get at. In New York and New Jersey is different. You're gonna have an attorney that represents you.
So I can't do that with you.
I can't do the seller financing portion of it.
Why not?
The attorney would have to handle that.
But you help me find the property.
The property. Yeah, I'm gonna help you with the property and close on the property.
Right. So I want you to benefit from it. So there's no way, and let me know if this is like out of the realm of what we should be talking about legally, because I don't want to get you in trouble or myself in trouble or to get people out there trying to do this. Right. I have a lot of an investor mindset. Right.
That's what the first thing I said was as an investor. Yeah.
So ideally, in a perfect world, seller financing is king.
Yeah.
100%. But I can see where it's beneficial to an agent and to me and to the seller all together. So it's a win-win situation for everybody.
The agent's still going to get their commission. Is that what you're concerned about?
No, I'm not concerned about that. Because that's what I was going to tell you was you're going to get paid regardless. Yeah. It's just the way that it's structured is a little bit different.
Right.
So, and obviously we could have this conversation off camera, but that in my ideal world as an investor, I would want to find all the seller financing that I can.
Of course.
Why? Because a lot of people refinanced during the pandemic, and I want to take advantage of the interest rates.
Assumable loans is another option.
But here's my concern with assuming
the home value.
Well, not only the value is and I think the Dave Ramseys of the world, they would say this too. They would be like, well, the bank can always pick up the phone and call the loan to be met, to be basically bought out in one shot. Isn't there a clause that banks have that right when you assume a loan, even if you qualify for it? So let's say, let me give you a perfect example. So let's say you and I we're gonna buy a property, and I like this property for what I want to do, so I can make it a midterm rental. Yeah. And the person has a 2.5% interest rate. I want to assume
perfect.
I want to assume their loan.
That means you're taking it over.
Who better than me? I qualify 100%. I qualify. So whatever, like the underwrite, whatever the process is. If you know what the process is, feel free to share it. But I qualify. I assume the loan, and the bank could be like, oh, who's this Emmanuel guy? We didn't give him this loan. We gave it to Jairo.
But the bank in the process is going to be made aware of what's going on.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
So then the myth is out.
And worst case, worst case scenario, if they do call the loan, you're more than likely either have equity on it. I mean, you have to run all the numbers, right? As an investor, you're going to run your numbers and know what you're getting yourself into.
Right.
But the bank's going to be made aware of the situation.
Okay. So it's when you do the subject twos is where that's where I was really
that's different. Yeah.
Right. And I like subject twos too. Is that too complicated?
That's different. So I have an investor client of mine that does that all the time, and because he's so savvy, he does it all. But he's taking a bigger risk there.
I love subject twos. Yeah. I think it's a win-win for the right client or seller that's in a bind. Yeah. And I hate, part of me hates it ethically, but at the same time I'm helping them out.
Yeah.
So and I feel like people are weary of that because they feel like they can't trust the person that's coming in to assume the mortgage because their credit is on the line. Mm-hmm. So I think that's where the hard part is. That's the
you can hurt them badly.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm also helping them because I'm
taking them out of that bind.
Right, and I'm paying the loan on their behalf. So, but again, that's a complicated one. Yeah. I personally like that, but I didn't know assuming loans was a thing.
Assumable loans.
I thought it was just subject twos.
No, not all loans are assumable though.
so when does it make sense for me to go, or let's say you're well, you're probably going to be my representative. So let's say when would you suggest we should assume a loan? Like
If
what's
the option's there.
Yeah. So what situation is that a thing?
Well, I mean, figuring out if that's even
Like
if it's an option
Right.
is one. If it's there, then here's the catch, right?
How would it work?
If the property owner has had the property for 20 years, right? They're pretty much at the end of their mortgage, and the property value now is way higher. They're gonna want to make some money. So how are you gonna cover that difference?
Right.
That's the catchy part. Are you gonna take another mortgage out? Are you gonna? At the end of the day, the reason why you would go after an assumable loan is because, like you said, if they refinance during the pandemic, they're probably at a 3% or 2.7 or 2.5% interest rate. Why would you not try to capitalize on that? Where if I'm going to take a new mortgage out on the property right now, it's going to be about 5.8, 5.9.
Isn't that where you would suggest creative financing for them?
Not everybody can do that.
But the reason why I would do it that way, and I guess it would take a little bit of convincing, but mind you, all of this is going to be legally binding.
Mm-hmm.
So I wouldn't do it in a sense where I'm going to assume the loan and then the remaining balance is just going to be on a shake hand.
Mm-hmm.
Like we're not going to shake hands on it. And then,
right.
You know what I'm saying? So what I would do is, like, let's say, for instance, it's to make numbers easier, $500,000 property. They owe $100,000. I'll assume the $100,000, let's say at 2.5%, right? And then what I would personally do is I would probably do creative financing. I would give them the option. I said, do you want the price or do you want an amount?
Mm-hmm.
That's how I would suggest it to
Again,
them.
you're making it a win-win.
Right. So they get to pick. They get to pick either the price or they get to
lump sum.
The term, basically. So it's the price of the term. You can't get both because
Mm-hmm.
that's what ideally a seller wants both. They want the terms and the price, and you can't have it both ways. Cause I got to win somehow too. It got to be a win-win. So I would assume the $100,000 loan, and then I would either seller finance the rest of it, which the benefit to them is that they don't have to, because there is a benefit to doing seller finance. You don't have to report all that income up front. You could get it in chunks, and long term you save taxes. Or if they want, take the lump sum. But guess what?
You're gonna get hit.
Uncle Sam's gonna take half of that. So there is a benefit for people that are out there that own property, and I think this is more specific to people that inherit property.
Oh my goodness!
Because we have a lot of people in our generation that they inherit property, and they don't want to deal with it. They just want the money, and it's like, bro, you have to be savvy about that.
Leaving a lot on the table.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah. But I'm more of the kind that everything should be under a trust and we should hold on to everything. But look, and I can get into that, bro. Yeah. Like, there is no reason why, personally, and the people out in the world that think that the government and everybody else is against us can argue against my way of thinking. I don't think there's a reason why the Dominicans don't own Washington Heights. That's my hot take when it comes to Washington Heights.
You're right.
But they want to complain about rent prices. I'm just saying, they're, and I'll give you a perfect example. In my mom's building, they organized at one point, to buy out their building from the landlord. And the landlord was willing. But their fear of doing that, and because it would become a co-op, their fear of doing that, so basically the fear of change, stopped them from doing that.
Limited mindset.
You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't think there isn't a landlord that isn't willing to sell at the right price.
Right.
And if everyone in Washington Heights would get it together, it takes money, it does. But what they were gonna do is they were gonna credit all these years of rent towards the
Stop it.
So they were gonna pay like $10,000. Let's say.
Stop it. No way.
100%, bro. I'm not even gaslighting you.
Wow.
And mind you, not to make things too political, because Mom Donnie's pushing a lot of the nonprofits to own a lot of these buildings. The owner of my mom's building is a nonprofit. So there isn't even an incentive for them to make. They were gonna make money because they would sell it at what the market rate is,
Right.
or at a discounted rate. But with the amount of credits they would have gotten, the amount of equity we would have.
How long ago was that?
I want to say it when I was still living with my mom, so it has to be at least 15 years ago.
Okay. Golly, yeah, right now.
Oof, te imagina. The amount of equity we would have made 15 years ago to now would have been insanity. The equity alone on that, because obviously I wouldn't even sell that. I would probably line of credit it to use as a down payment towards the home that I want to have now. That would have alone covered it. And she would still net profit from subleasing
of course.
that apartment.
Yeah.
And they would set me up to have something else on the side.
Bueno.
But do you understand? And this is where the frustration comes for me because, again, she has a paid off home in Dominican Republic. My grandma's house is paid off.
Mm-hmm.
I have a mortgage on my house in my apartment because I got an apartment. I didn't even get a house in Dominican Republic. But the amount of creative financing and the backing that we get here, we don't get in Dominican Republic. And I'm happy
the advantages that we have
right.
here.
And I'm happy to talk about because I think in DR I'm paying a 7.8 or 7.5 interest rate, and that's premium. Like that's like the top of the top. It's normal for you to get a 12% rate in Dominican Republic. So make it make sense. The math ain't mathing, you know what I'm saying? And we're literally not creating generational wealth here in the city because I don't want.
No, it's fear.
And I hate to say that it's because we don't want to. I think we want to, but in order for us to change the way our communities are shaped and the way they look, another hot take.
Mm-hmm.
I think it starts with ownership. You don't care about something you don't own.
Correct.
Why would you care how the neighborhood looks if you don't own it?
Correct.
It starts with ownership, and guess what? Through the ownership that we have, the property taxes, which we were talking about, the property taxes that you pay for the place that you own goes towards the house that you're going to send your kids to, which better funds it. You know what I'm saying? Well, but you know what? I'm just gaslighting people.
You have a completely different sense of pride when you own something. You're taking care of it. You're cleaning up. You're making sure, hey, my neighbor, you're good. Emmanuel, tú estás bien?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
It's and people get annoyed by this sometimes because they're like, "Oh, my nosy neighbor."
I used to know every single. Now that I'm back to my investment property, we had a couple bad snowstorms this year.
Right.
I know everybody on my block. I love that community feeling. I love that closeness that we have. Yeah.
But you also have an interest in it too.
Right.
Because if I own my apartment, as an example here in New York City, or if I own my home in a more suburban area, like suburb area in New Jersey, because I have interest in the value of my property not to go down, it's important to me not only to help myself and my property look a certain, to have that aesthetic. I need yours to have it as well so that it doesn't devalue mine.
True, yeah.
So, bro, I would get to a point where I'll cut your grass.
I got you.
You know what I'm saying? Like, but people don't understand that. But that only comes with when you have that pride of ownership.
True.
You know what I'm saying? So, like, personally, and I had the stats on this, and I was supposed to say all of this when we started the episode. I think Dominicans, we're at a 20 to 30% ownership here in the U.S.
In the U.S.
Yeah, and I think out of the 2.4 million that immigrated over here,
You're talking about specifically Dominicans.
Dominicans
right? Okay.
specifically, which is extremely low in the Latino community. I think Latinos as a whole, we're at 50 or
48 or something like that.
40 to 50.
We're the fastest growing
Clip.
Yeah.
And mind you, that doesn't even negate whatever they own back in
right
in the native
wherever
country.
they're from. Yeah.
And I would love to see the stats of how many of us own in Dominican Republic but don't own here, because I literally feed into that stat.
No, I know a lot of people that are.
You know what I'm saying? And I get it though. Don't get me wrong. I understand. My apartment I bought it in plano, and I got in late because the walls were already up, and I think I got in at 118,000. Why wouldn't you go into that? And I think I put a 20% down on that. Why wouldn't you get into that? So, and I get it, and there's a whole wave of this right now. A lot of people want to become expats in Dominican Republic. I get it. Your dollar goes far in Dominican Republic.
I was just down there with my kids 2 months ago.
But is it controversial for me to say, let's make, especially us first generation Dominicans, let's make our HQ, financial HQ here, and then once the financial freedom is there, then let's have the options or the conversation about potentially living in Dominican Republic. And I have a friend that does it. He runs his business remotely from Dominican Republic, but the hub is here.
Got it.
The money is here. You get what I'm saying? And it's not that he doesn't have businesses in Dominican Republic. He has the businesses in Dominican Republic, but I think that's a cherry on top. You know what I'm saying?
To your point, I mean, look at all the other foreigners that own here, Chinese, from India, from all these other countries around the world that they invest here because the real estate market here is beneficial, is advantageous, whether it's tax benefits or what have you, compared to investing in their own countries.
Right. 100%. Yeah. Billionaires Row is a perfect example.
Yeah.
I want to say 80-90% of Billionaires Row is
foreign investors.
And it's vacant. They're just sitting there.
They just want to park their money.
They're parking their money there. So why aren't we doing that? You know what I'm saying? I don't know. All right, let's wrap it up. I've already held on to you, and I hope I covered a lot of it, and it's been educational for a lot of people. But definitely, let's close it up with a general question, because it comes down to the same thing. If there's a first generation Dominican or Latino watching this that feels like buying a home is impossible, what would you tell them?
It's not impossible. I mean, what I mentioned early on, what you don't know, you don't know. Sit down with someone that has the information and the knowledge. I don't care if you're not thinking about it right now. If it's something that you just have some type of inclination on, sit down with someone, talk to people, learn what you need to learn. If it's a 5-year plan, if it's an 8-year plan, whatever it is, it doesn't have to be right now. Just learn what you need to learn early on.
Excellent. I agree. If I was to throw in my little sprinkle into that, again, my situation is a little bit different. I think I've done my due diligence and I've overly prepared.
No such thing as...
Well, compared to my peers, I've overly prepared. 100% agree with you. I think you shouldn't rush into it. I think a lot of people are like, I want to buy a home. By the end of the year, I'm going to buy a home. They'll come with you with a pre-approval y se meten un lío, financially speaking. And I think, unfortunately, it's too big of a purchase and an investment and a commitment for you to rush. You know what I'm saying? I think at a minimum, everyone should have a 20% down payment on what their ideal or their first home is going to be. Not even so much to put it down, but just to have a cushion. Just like you should have an emergency fund for, your day-to-day, there should be an emergency fund for your home. There should be, you know what I'm saying? Don't overextend yourself, which is why I wanted to mention that earlier, and get into too much of a house in the sense of price-wise, where you're spending 80% of your income on a mortgage. You get what I'm saying? Which is crazy, and it falls a lot into our culture. Like, we love to be fantamoso. We love to show what we have. We love to show that we have people love to show that they have, their chains, that they have their car, the 2027 car, they love to show that they have a big house, you know what I'm saying? But they're really living paycheck to paycheck, which is crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? You need to be financially savvy. You need to be smart about it. Sit down with a professional, hash out a budget, get out of consumer debt. You know what I'm saying? Because it's a long haul when it comes to real estate.
I want to say, too, to add on to that, what you're saying. I mean, yeah, you have professionals, but if you know somebody that's doing things that you aspire to do, oftentimes they're going to be willing to share how they did it.
100%.
Ask. Do not be afraid to ask. I think that's also misconception, if you will, where it's like, oh, he's not gonna want to share. He's not gonna want to tell me what he did. Oftentimes they will. They want to. So don't be afraid to ask.
100%. If I wouldn't ask, you wouldn't be here.
True.
Sharing everything you shared with, and I wouldn't share the little bit that I know, because I
know you know a lot.
Like for someone that's not in the day-to-day trenches of the real estate, I think I've tried hard enough to like understand the concepts, understand what the tools that are out there to help me. And mind you, it's not even about me. I'm thinking about my mom. I'm thinking about my wife. I'm thinking about a potential family, having kids running around and all that stuff.
That's it.
Like, it's all forward thinking. You get what I'm saying? So like, don't feel some type of way if you don't know. Reach out. You know what I'm saying? They have my Instagram. They have my YouTube. All my contact information is there. I'm definitely gonna put his contact information
You
there.
just reminded me though. We first talked about real estate years ago.
100%.
Years ago.
And I'm still talking to you about it. Even though I bought in Dominican Republic first.
ABC or ABL. Always be learning.
Yeah. And I think what benefited me most about this conversation is me getting over my fear of, one, investing out of state, but two, to just actually doing it. And and I don't know what it is, why I had more balls, to not put it in other words, to get something in DR before here is, I can't even explain that to you. It makes no, it for me, it takes more balls to trade stocks than what it is to buy real estate. And I can't, if you ask me today, I can't tell you why I did it that way. I don't regret it. Don't get me wrong.
We each have our journey.
Right. And I've learned a lot. If I was to do it again, I probably wouldn't go about it that way. I definitely think everyone that's a first gen American, we should definitely invest here first. Set a foundation here first. I mean, just think about living mortgage free, how that would open up people's income and the possibilities that you can do from that. You don't need to be like me. You don't need to be so savvy. You don't need to be so, because I'm very ambitious. Like, I want a portfolio of stuff. You don't need all of that. Just with you living in your house, mortgage free. And mind you, you don't have to do this alone. Right. There's a lot of families that are willing to do this as a unit, as a family unit.
A lot of people do that.
You know what I'm saying? I've seen, actually, most of my friends that are South American, they do it that way.
They live together for a couple years. One saves up so that one can buy 100%. One house. They keep on chipping in so that the other one can buy another house. Yep. Keep on chipping in until they all have one.
100%. I actually have a friend now. He's in Queens. They have a townhouse, Ecuadorian. And it's a 3-family. They each have one unit. Crazy. And it's worth money. You know what I'm saying? So that's another topic. Can we trust our family?
That is a whole nother topic.
Right.
Oh, man.
But if you do have that family unit, that you guys are united like that, and you can put your money together, especially for this market, because in Texas, like I was mentioning earlier, it's a lot easier to do it on your own. But in this market that we're in, 100%, get together, plan, and then, and again, it comes with the foundational stuff. We need to get out of credit card debt. We need to get out of these consumer debts, these Affirms, Klarnas of the world. We need to get out of that. Start a real foundational fund to get into this real estate, and let's start creating generational wealth.
You can start little.
Yeah, 100%. Don't be ambitious as me and go for $1 million house.
Well, you had years to build
right
to where you got to.
Right, yeah. Right. You can house hack your way into that.
Boom.
That's it. So
go back. Right.
Definitely, bro. Thanks for your time. I hope this was entertaining for you guys. I hope we could do it again.
100%.
I appreciate you. And
we got some good topics.
100%. And I have some other spicy stuff that I want to talk about that you might want to be involved.
All right. I'm in it.
So thanks for tuning in, guys. If you like this content, please consider to subscribe, to like, and definitely drop your comments. And if you have any questions, I'm definitely going to drop Jairo's contact. You want to share it now? How to get in contact with you if someone's looking to start their journey?
Instagram would be the best way.
All right, I'll drop his Instagram and I'll tag you.
Sweet.
We'll even collaborate in a couple things. Actually, I'll definitely collaborate with you. grab your audience to help mine.
That's fine. That's what it's about.
Exactly. All right, guys. Take care and have a good one.
Dude.